Good morning and namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to get nice and comfortable. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion or a blanket or a block. Somewhere where your spine and the back of your neck can sit nice and long and tall, opening up your chest and opening up your diaphragm and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or a phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the fourth limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. The fourth limb of yoga is pranayama. So the first thing we do when we're born is to take a breath. And the last thing we do before we die is take a breath. Breathing is our source of life, and we do it quite unconsciously. Pranayama is about breathing consciously. Prana is Sanskrit for life force, and yama is control. Life force control. So pranayama starts with an awareness and uses controls or techniques to have our breath guide us into well-being. And I want to underscore that word well-being. Reading this book, Breath by James Nestor, has kind of made me more aware of how important our breath is. It's not just like something we do day in, day out. It is really a source of our well-being. And I could go on for an hour about his book and what he cites in it. And it's not anything I haven't read before, researching websites like WebMD and National Health, which I'll get into a little later, some of these sightings. But I just want to underscore how important your breath is to your well-being. And while I'm at it, all of these 8 limbs of yoga are equally important. We went through the asanas last week, and people associate yoga with the poses. But pranayama, the breathing techniques, yamas and niyamas, they're all equally important limbs of the yoga experience. So moving on, I digressed. So we can use these techniques in yoga, in our asana and our meditation practices to increase our resilience during those practices. or we can use them off the mat to reduce anxiety. And my favorite use of them is to improve my sleep. I'm sold on pranayamas from my first yoga class when we focused on them, and my sleep has improved tremendously. So let's start our pranayama. So if you would kindly just take a moment and observe your natural breath. Do you breathe from your nose or from your mouth? And I think at different points and different times, we can say one or the other. But there is a yogi saying, or one of the yogis I follow, she says, the nose is for breathing, the mouth is for eating. And if you keep that in mind, to consciously try to breathe more times through your nose than through your mouth, it adds to your well-being. The American Lung Association agrees with that statement of nose is for breathing, mouth is for eating. The National American Lung Association says the nostrils filters warm and humidifies air in a way that the mouth can't. It helps to regulate the oxygen and carbon dioxide levels and improve blood circulation. So again, just take a moment and observe your breath. And do you breathe from your chest or from your stomach? And again, there's going to be times when you're breathing more from your chest, fight and flight syndrome, all of the oxygen and energy comes from your chest area. And ideally, though, as I'm about to say, you want to bring that breath down. So Harvard Health claims that stomach breathing encourages full oxygen exchange, slows the heartbeat, and can lower blood pressure. And they actually suggest practicing a breathing technique 5 to 10 minutes a day. So I actually, on Instagram, found this wonderful, it's called, I guess, I don't know what you call them on Instagram, place called soothing_breath. And I will put that link to you. And also YouTube has one called Headfulness by a gentleman by the name of Luke Horton. And he has, they both have these beautiful scenes with music, and they guide you through breathing. Just following this ball, having you inhale, pause, exhale, or inhale, exhale. And it's just very, very soothing. So if you need a little assistance getting some breathing in during your daytime, those are two wonderful sources. So pranayama, the basic pranayama that we learn is Dirga, D-I-R-G-A. And that is Sanskrit for complete. And we also call it three-part breath because that involves your stomach, your rib cage, and your chest. There's a woman I found who teaches breathing techniques or breathing, she's a breathing coach. And she had an interesting setup with a mudra to help you get your breath down into your stomach. So with your hands just open like this, if you kind of put your hands on your lap and just open them and close your eyes and take a few breaths. You may not be able to distinguish where your breath is coming from, but the next step is to take your index finger and your thumb and bring them together. And just breathe naturally. Do you notice a change? Is your breath dropped down a little bit to the rib cage? And then the last one is to bring your index finger, your middle finger, and your thumbs together. Just gently do your natural breath. And do you notice a change there? The mudras should help you bring that breath down into your stomach. So then you're almost effortlessly doing the three-part breath, that complete breath. All right, so I'm going to go to the mat. We have a lot of pranayama techniques to do today, so I'll get to it. Interestingly, the one that we're not going to do today is the ujjayi breath. Just kind of explore other ones because there's a bunch of them out there. So the next breath technique I've spoken about before. It is my favorite. It's the one that helps me with sleeping. But it's using that Dirga breath as our base for all the rest of the pranayamas that we're going to talk about today. This Vishama Vritti is equal length breath. And in the book, Breath by James Nestor, he discusses ultimately, or optimally, not ultimately, optimally, that word, we should be breathing an inhale of 5.5 seconds and an exhale of 5.5 seconds. And I was like, you know, I learned as a child 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000 as, you know, for counting seconds, but that 0.5 really kind of threw me off. So we're going to do that equal length breath, trying to zone in on that 5.5 seconds. Oh, hello, Oscar. And what I think we could do is say inhale for the 0.5, and then we'll do the 1 1,000, 2 1,000. So we're going to do our sun breaths with that Vishama Vritti equal length breath. So inhale, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. Exhale, 5 1,000, 4 1,000, 3 1,000, 2 1,000, 1 1,000. Inhale, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. Exhale, 5 1,000, 4 1,000, 3 1,000, 2 1,000, 1 1,000. We'll just kind of do that, but just kind of flow with that a little bit. So you kind of get the sense of where your arms, how quickly they should move up as you inhale, and how slowly they should move down on the exhale. So inhale. And exhale. And you're welcome to do the 1 1,000s to yourself. That helps. One last time. All right, and then a little riff on the Sama Vritti is Sama Vritti, again being equal length breath, is unequal length breath. And that's Vishama Vritti. And so you can do either way. Again, from my introduction that I do every week, inhale brings energy into you, and exhale relaxes you. So depending on what you're trying to achieve, if you're trying to get more energy, you just want to increase, have your unequal part be an increase on the inhale, increasing that longer than your exhale. Or if you're into a situation where you need to relax, you want to exhale longer than your inhale. So we're going to do some just some sun twists, and you can experiment with what you want. So I'm going to inhale, sending my arms up, and then having a long inhale, twisting over to the left, and then quickly bring my hands down on the exhale. So that inhale is to energize. So again, inhale slowly, having a deep, long inhale, and then exhale faster, twisting over to the other side. Inhale slowly, nice and long, twisting to the left, and then exhale, coming down more quickly. So you can continue with that, or you can switch it up if you want a more relaxing. You inhale more quickly and then slowly exhale to the other side. So play with that just a little bit. Inhaling up. Or you can keep it equal. All right, we'll return to the middle. We'll get up onto our hands and knees to tabletop. Remember the fundamentals of tabletop: our wrists below our shoulders, knees below our hips, finger spread open, gently pushing down into the mat to create that even distribution of weight. Navel tucked to the spine. And we'll do some head turns here. And you can inhale and exhale. I'm going to inhale as I turn my head to the right, and then exhale as I return my head back down so I'm staring at the mat. Inhale, turning my head to the left, and then exhale, returning my gaze to the mat. And just continue here, just kind of loosen up that upper neck, upper shoulder area. And the breath's nourishing in that way. It helps you to relieve any tension, especially on that exhale. And then come back to tabletop. We'll now do some cat-cows. And you can use that Sama Vritti, that equal length breath, for your cat and your cow. So I'm going to round my back, drop my head and tail down, exhale, and then lifting my gaze up, straight ahead, tailbone goes up for cow on the exhale. on the inhale, sorry. Either one, you can experiment with both. Rounding my back for cat. And then get a nice even flow so I have that equal length breath. Come into cow. Rounding my back for cat. Keep that flow going on a nice even distribution of inhales and exhales. And then come back to tabletop. And we'll come into some bird dogs. So bringing your knees together so they're touching underneath your hips. We're gonna raise our right leg up at hip height. Again, check in with your hands, make sure your weight's evenly distributed. And then lift up your left arm, bringing your left arm alongside your ear. And so we're gonna point our toe on the inhale, and then we're gonna flex on the exhale, but I'm gonna keep my point longer. So the inhale is gonna be much longer, or not much longer, but longer than the exhale. So that's the Vishama Vritti, the unequal breath. So inhale, pointing, exhale, flex, 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 and bring your hand and your leg back down. We'll do that on the other side. Again, just check in with your hands, make sure your weight's evenly distributed. Lift your left leg up to hip height. Extend your right arm out front, alongside your ear, pointing your toe on the inhale. Flex, exhale, point, 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 inhale. And flex, exhale, and bring everything back down. So we're going to come back to a seated position. So we've gone through two. Our next one is a breathing technique that is one of the more powerful breathing techniques in the pranayama. It's called Nadi Shodana, and that's alternate nostril breathing. We've done it plenty of times before, often talk about it helping to reduce panic attacks or relaxing you. But it also, one of its more important purposes is what it stands for. Nadi means channels, and Shodana means purification or cleansing. So the channels that are Nadi go up along your spine, they cross over where your chakras are. And it basically is purifying or cleansing those channels. So if you feel stuck in many ways, or a couple of ways, it might be that your chakras just need a little bit of cleansing. And this technique, because it works on both sides of your channels, the left and right, both sides of your hemisphere. It works on both sides of your body. It will help to clean. So typically we do that with a mudra, a Vishnu mudra, where we bring our fingertips down, our index and our middle finger down and extending the three. And then we use our thumb and our ring finger. But if you want to use this technique, employ this breathing pranayama as one of your daily practices, maybe using it for that 5 to 10 minute recommendation that the Harvard Health suggested, it might get a little tiresome having your fingers down. So what you could do is take those two fingers and place them right between your brows, your third eye, which is actually one of the chakras, and use your thumb and ring finger just as flippers that way. A little less strain on your fingers. So let's just do that for a couple times. And the key when we do this breath is you're going to breathe through one nostril at a time. Once you hit the top of the inhale, then you're going to flip the fingers. So then I'll just demonstrate once. Closing my right nostril, inhaling through my left. I reach the top of the inhale. I bring my ring finger down and close that nostril and exhale through my right nostril. Then I inhale also through my right nostril. When I reach the top of that breath, on the inhale, I switch fingers. Thumb comes and closes the right nostril. Exhale through the left nostril. Inhale through the left nostril. Top of the inhale, flip fingers. And just continue on for a few minutes. Well, not minutes, moments. Okay, you can release your hands. Come into tabletop, and we're going to tuck our toes under, walking our hands back, come into our squat, pushing down into our feet, come up to mountain pose. So mountain pose we'll go through in a second, but the chakras go from your pelvis area on up to the crown that sit above your head. And there's 7 of them. And for example, if you're feeling physically in your gut that you need energy, or if you're having digestive issues, it's kind of a physical and metaphysical feeling. That's where your chakra can, clearing your chakras can help. If you're feeling in your heart issues with love, or if you're having respiratory congestion, physical, metaphysical, that would be here in your throat. There's another chakra. If you're having problems communicating, sometimes when I do class, I can't get one word in front of the other, communicating, or if you have throat issues like sore throats, those are your chakras, and cleaning the whole chakra system out by using that Nadi Shodana breathing technique might be just a really nice daily practice to get into. So that being said, let's lift our toes off the mat and bring them back down. Lifting our heels off the mat, bring those back down. Our legs are nice and straight and strong. That's our root chakra. Navel's tucked into the spine. That's another chakra. spine is nice and long, back of your neck is nice and long. Get those channels, the nadis, nice and open. Tuck our chin toward our chest, helping our throat chakra. Crown of our head reaches up to the sky. So sweeping our hands up overhead, inhale, and then exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat. Bending our knees as we go, and then bringing our hands to our shins, flat back for half forward fold. And then sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. And just let gravity take over for a moment. Just check in with yourself. How are you feeling? And we'll sweep our hands all the way up. Big inhale as we rise, bringing our hands up above our head, come up onto our tippy toes. And then exhale, bring our hands down slowly as we slowly lower our heels back down to the mat. We'll do a few more of these tippy toe sun breaths. Inhale up, lifting ourselves up onto our tippy toes as our hands go up overhead. And then exhaling back down. Get that nice even flow as our heels reach back down to the mat. We'll do that again one more time. Inhale up. And then exhale down. We'll bring our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. And bring our hands to our shins, flatten out our back, nice stretch to the half forward fold. Gaze is down, stretching out our spine, the back of our neck. And then sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. And we'll do a couple side stretches. So bring our right hand down to our right thigh and slide it down toward our right knee. Tipping our torso over to the right. Inhale, come back up again. And then exhale, bringing our left hand down to our left thigh, sliding it down toward our knee, tipping over to the left. And inhale, come back up. Right hand comes down again, sliding it back down toward our knee. And then inhale, come back up. And left hand comes down to our left thigh, sending it down to our left knee. And then one last time to the right. And one last time to the left. Both hands come back up overhead. And then bringing our hands all the way back down to the mat. Inhale, bringing them up to the shins. Nice flat back, half forward fold. And setting the crown of our head down toward the mat. Forward fold. And then we'll sweep our hands, big inhale, sweeping them up overhead. And then we're going to bend our knees, lowering our hips and sending our arms down, coming into chair pose. So just lower arms slightly, bending our knees so that our toes are behind in front of our knees. We can still see our toes, basically. Navel's tucked to the spine. And then we'll come back up and we'll do that chair pose 2 more times. So again, lowering your arms slightly, bending your knees, lowering your hips down toward your ankles, Look to make sure you can see the tops of your toes. Navel's tucked to the spine. And then back up again. And one last time. Come down. Each time, see if you can get a little lower. And then come back up. And then bring your hands all the way down to the mat, bending your knees as you go. Forward fold. Bring your hands up to your shins, half forward fold. Sending the crown of your head down toward the mat. Forward fold. And then sweeping your hands all the way up. Overhead, palms come together. Palms come to heart center. Palms come to the back of your hips. Feet are about hip width apart. Fingertips pointing down. Shoulders are nice and relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked toward your chest. And then dropping your shoulders back for a supported back bend. And then come back up again. We're going to bring our pinky toes to the edge of the mat. Tucking our heels in slightly. We're going to come down, back down to the mat just for a moment and we'll do that with the wide-legged squat. So hands to heart center, bending our knees, bringing our torso between our legs, sending our hips down toward the mat. Elbows are on the inside of our knees. Hands reach down toward the mat. And then we'll come into a sit position. Just a basic seated pose. Alrighty, another pranayama is Viloma. And that is Sanskrit for against the grain. And it helps develop a skillful breath control and awareness. So there's two versions of this. We'll do Viloma, thank you. Need to clear out my throat chakra. Viloma 1. And that one places emphasis on the inhales and leads to a sensation of energy rising up the spine. So to do it on the inhale, what we'll do is, again, remembering that 3-part breath from your stomach, your ribs to your chest. We're going to do that, and I'll just demonstrate so you'll know what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to do it to a count of 6 and having pauses in it. So in the inhaling using my stomach, 1, 2, pause. Inhale, moving up to my ribs, 1, 3, 4, pause. And then moving up to my chest, 5, 6, pause. And that's all on the inhale. And then on the exhale, I'm just going to count slowly, 6 back down to 1. And then one nice even flow, let everything release. So let's try that, starting with your stomach. Inhale, 1, 2, pause. Move that inhale up to your ribs. 3, 4, pause. Move that inhale up to your chest. 5, 6, pause. And then exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll try it a couple more times. Inhale through with your stomach. 1, 2, pause. Moving up to your ribs. 3, 4, pause. Inhale, 5, 6, pause. And then exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one last time. Inhale with your stomach. 1, 2, pause. Up to your ribs. Inhale, 3, 4, pause. Up to your chest. 5, 6, pause. And then exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that, I don't know if you feel any energy rising along your spine. So then we'll go into our next part of our practice. We're going to come into a tabletop and then extend both feet down to the bottom of the mat, coming into plank. Wrists right below our shoulders, heels pushing to the bottom of the mat, navels tucked to the spine. And lower to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping your elbows tucked to the side. And once you reach the mat, you can bring your arms along the side of you, the palms facing up, chin gently resting on the mat. We'll do half locust to full locust. So raise the right leg up, keeping your hip bones parallel to the mat. And then exhale down. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale down. And then inhale both legs and both arms up like you're flying like Superman. And then back down. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, the right leg goes up. And exhale back down. Inhale, left leg goes up. And then back down. And then inhale both legs and arms up. And then back down. Bring your hands right below your shoulders. We'll do a cobra, so gently lift your chin and your chest up. Gently pushing into your hands, coming into cobra. Elbows tucked to the side. And then we're going to push down into our hands, come up to the tops of our feet for up dog. And turn our toes around and come into downward dog. And we'll pedal out here for a moment. So the fingers are spread wide, index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Chest reaching toward your thighs, sending your hips up nice and tall. And then we're going to bring our right knee to our right elbow, pushing off of our left foot. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. Again, bring your right knee to your right elbow. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. And then our third time, we're going to bring our right foot all the way up between our hands, coming into runner's lunge. Our right knee's right above our right ankle. Back heels pushing toward the bottom of the mat. Really feeling the energy in our legs. And then we're going to bring our left knee down to the mat. Top of our left foot down to the mat. Then we're going to come and raise our hands up. And you can do that in 2 steps. You can bring your hands to your knees and then all the way up. And then bring our hands back down. We'll tuck our back toe under, come back to runner's lunge. We're going to go into high lunge from here. So you can again do that in 2 steps. Bring your hands to your knees And then get nice and stabilized, bringing your hands all the way up. And if you feel a little too wobbly, you can pivot your back foot down, coming into warrior one. And we're going to sweep our hands down and back for airplane arms. And as we bring them back, we're going to straighten out our front leg. And then sweeping them back and up again. As we do that, we're going to bend our front leg over, knee over ankle, going back into that lunge position. We'll do that several more times. Sweeping our hands back, straightening out our front leg, and then sweeping our hands up, coming back to the lunge. And one more time, sweeping our hands back, straightening out that front leg, and then sweeping our hands back up, coming back into that high lunge position. We'll bring our hands back down to the mat and bring our right foot back and come back to downward dog. Pedal out here for a moment. And then we're going to bring our right knee and place it on the mat right behind our right wrist, angling our foot a little bit over to, so it's on a diagonal to the left, and then slide our left foot all the way back down to the bottom of the mat, coming into pigeon pose. And you can stay in this position, or you can walk your hands back, coming into a proud pigeon. And if you like, you can walk your hands all the way forward and come down into reclined pigeon. And then come back up if you're in recline. Tuck your back toe under, lift your leg up and come back to downward dog. And pedal out here. And then we're going to send our hips forward and coming back into plank pose. So our shoulders are right above our wrists. Heels are pushing to the back, navel's tucked to the spine. Then we'll lower down to the mat again, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And we'll bring our arms alongside, palms facing up, chin lightly placed on the mat. And then inhale, lift the right leg up and lower it back down. Inhale, lift the left leg up. And exhale, bringing it back down. Then inhale, lifting both legs and both arms up into Superman pose. And bring them back down. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, lifting the right leg up. Exhale, bringing it back down. Inhale, left leg goes up. Exhale, bringing it back down. And inhale, lifting both legs and both arms up and bringing them both back down. Hands come right below our shoulders, elbows tucked into the side. Gently lift our chin and our chest up, pushing down into our hands, coming into cobra. And then pushing with our hands, coming up to on the tops of our feet, and then flipping our feet over, coming into downward dog. Sorry, from up dog to downward dog. And pedal out here for a few moments. your hips up to the sky. And then we'll bring our left knee to our left elbow, pushing off with our right toes. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. And again, left knee to left elbow. And then back to downward dog, pedal out. And then the left foot comes between our hands, coming into runner's lunge. And then bring our left knee down to the mat, top of our left foot down to the mat. And we'll sweep our hands up to the sky. You can do that in one sweep, or bringing it to your knee first, and then sweeping your hands up to the sky. And then bringing our hands back down to the mat. Tuck our back toes under, coming back to runner's lunge. We're going to sweep our hands all the way up to high lunge, or again, you can do it in 2 steps. Bring it to your knee, feel that stability, and then bringing up to the sky. And then we'll sweep our hands back, coming into airplane arms. As we do that, we're going to straighten our front leg out. And then sweep our hands back and up to the sky, bending into that lunge position. We'll do that 2 more times. So sweeping back, straightening out the front leg, and then sweeping up, bending the front leg into the lunge. And one last time, sweeping our hands back, straightening out our front leg, and then sweeping our hands up, coming back to the lunge. Bringing both hands back down to the mat. Send our left foot back to downward dog. Pedal out here for a moment. And then we're going to bring our left knee and set it on the mat right behind our left wrist, coming into pigeon pose. So our left foot's at an angle toward the right side of the mat. We'll slide our right foot all the way down to the bottom of the mat. Again, you could stay here or walk your hands back a little bit for pigeon pose, or walk your hands forward for reclined pigeon. And then you can come back up again. And from here, if you want to just come back into a seated position, we'll talk about our last pranayama, which is the second part of Viloma. So the first one we did on the inhale, and this one is emphasizing the exhale. So you're placing the pauses within the exhales, and the sensation you should get along your spine is one of relaxation. And we'll do that right before we do a few last poses and get into Shavasana. So, if you remember, we paused after 2 inhales, or 2 count to an inhale, we paused. This one is that we're going to inhale all the way up 1 through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then exhale 6, 5, starting with our chest. Pause. 4, 3, around our ribs, pause, and 2, 1, exhaling our stomach, 2, 1, pause. So inhale again, we'll do it together. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale from the chest, 6, 5, pause. Exhale from the ribs, 4, 3, pause. And exhale from the stomach, 2, 1, pause. One last time, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 6, 5 from the chest. Exhale from the ribs, 4, 3. Exhale from the stomach, 2, 1, pausing. There we go. All right, so now we'll roll down to the mat. You can do that express method if you like. Just roll down, knees to chest, give them a nice hug. Maybe rock our lower back against the mat. Just give it a little bit of a massage. And then we'll place our feet on the mat and have our feet about hip width apart. I'll bring our hands down on the mat so the palms are right on the mat on each side. And we'll do a few supine cat-cows and then bringing them into a bridge pose. So we're gonna round our back, creating that little bowl on our tummy, and then kind of arch our back slightly. And then round our back again, and then push down to our feet, lifting our hips up to the sky. And once we get up there, we can get nice and relaxed. Gaze is going up toward the ceiling. Our knees are parallel with one another. And then we're going to slowly come down, one vertebrae at a time, but we'll do that with that count. 6, 5, pause. 4, 3, pause. And then 2, 1, pause. Maybe that has you feeling that energy along your spine. So we'll do that again. Then rounding our back, creating that bowl, and then arching just slightly. And then rounding our back, creating that bowl, and pushing down into our feet, lifting up into bridge pose. Once we're nice and ready, we'll exhale, 6, 5, pause as we lower. 4, 3, pause as we lower. 2, 1, pause as we lower. And one last time, rounding our back, creating that bowl. Then arching our back slightly. And then rounding our back again, creating that bowl, pushing down into our feet, lifting our hips up to the sky. And then slowly, on the exhale, 6, 5, lowering, pause, lowering, 4, 3, pause, 2, 1, pause. And then we'll send our feet down to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. Bring your feet out to the corners, just let them flop open. Take a couple of deep inhales, and on the exhales, just release your body into the mat. You can do that as vigorously as you want or as gently as you want. Maybe a big sigh. Today's poem I have for you by Dana Faulds. Breathe in. Breathe in spaciousness and acceptance of what is. Breathe out resistance. Breathe in possibility and optimism. Breathe out fear and doubt. Breathe in ease. Breathe out the need to change the way this moment is unfolding. Breathe in the certainty that what we really are is so much bigger than pain and suffering. Breathe out limitation and conditioning. Breathe in divinity and openness. Breathe out a prayer of thanks that even in the midst of difficulty, there is awareness.